Hey everyone, Chastain on Gaming here with a tutorial on how to beat Lost Lace using only your needle. I went with a healing based loadout for this fight. I like the moves of the Reaper crest, but for this method you can use any crest that allows 2 blue tools and has a pogo you find comfortable. The most important blue tool here is the Druid's Eyes. You get this from finding all the moss berries and it'll cancel out the silk eating effects of void damage and helps tremendously. I also recommend the multi-binder and injector band for large quick heals, and the magnetite dice to help avoid taking damage. The Ascendance grip can also help to get height over the void waves that come in the later phases. Congrats on getting this far. You've conquered many challenges in this game, and you have just one boss challenge left for which you've proven yourself more than capable. At this point, you've already journeyed to the bottom of the abyss. We're going to start at the bench located at the bottom, directly underneath where you find the map. Head straight to the right, and the first time you'll encounter Lace and be prompted through some dialogue, after which you can jump into the pool of void to the right. After that, you can simply run over to the void pool and hop in for successive attempts. After a brief cutscene of falling through the void, we'll encounter Lost Lace and get ready for phase 1 of our final stand. She gets pretty aggressive from the get-go, so stay defensive and bait out her first couple of moves. The first phase is a good chance to get familiar with her physical moveset. She keeps this same general moveset throughout the fight, but as the phases progress, she adds magical void-based attacks that you'll have to dodge simultaneously. Her general movement patterns and your opportunities to punish will stay the same, aside from a slight increase in the speed of her follow-ups. My favorite opportunities to punish are when she hops in the air and dives at you diagonally, and when she triple dashes across the ground, leaving trails of void. For the diagonal dive, keep some distance and watch for her to pop up in the air. If you see her whip up tentacles in the air, I suggest dashing in the opposite direction. This can also be avoided by jumping over it, but it's more angle dependent, so I suggest dashing away. To punish the triple void dash, look for the same cue as the dive. If she whips up tentacles, dash in the opposite direction or double jump and get some airtime. If she points her needle at you all on the ground, she's going to go in for a triple dash, and you can hop up and pogo the first dash, then double jump and float out of the way to anticipate the end of her combo. Sometimes she dashes 3 times, and sometimes the third dash is replaced with either shooting tentacles, jumping up and shooting tentacles, or jumping up and diving at you. Any of the moves that don't involve tentacles can be easily pogoed once anticipated. It's also possible to pogo when she's shooting tentacles from the ground and when she triple slashes, but I found myself getting caught up in these moves when not positioned just right. You can get a couple of free hits in when she laughs to announce the second phase, but be careful because she immediately will follow up with her first void attack, which is summoning 3 tentacle pillars, and one will be directly underneath your feet. Be careful about trying to jump over these because they shoot up really high, so I think it's best to dodge them by patiently standing between them and watching to anticipate Lace's next move. She has a total of 3 new void moves in this phase. Let's call them Void Pillars, Arching Void Orb Blades, and Triple Void Blast. We've already addressed Void Pillars, and dodging the Arching Void Orb Blades is essentially the opposite. Stay on the ground and step in between where the 2 orbs will fall, then double jump to float and avoid them when they turn into blades. Triple Void Blast is telegraphed by Lace summoning 3 glowing orbs in the sky, each of which will fire a Void Blast at your current position, one after another. This move is the bane of my existence, and you'll see it trap me often in this phase. You've likely noticed that Lace can teleport across the arena quickly, and will try to teleport in front of you when trying to run across the arena. So you're likely to get trapped like this and take contact damage if you try to run under and away from Triple Blast when you see the glowing orbs appear in the sky. The safest way to dodge this move is to wait for the first blast to fire, and then climb up the side wall to hop up and over all 3 blasts. Be careful not to start hopping up the wall too fast like I tend to do, or the final orb is likely to hit you when you try to jump over. The key to these later phases is staying patient, focusing on dodging the incessant void attacks, and only punishing when we have a safe opportunity to pogo her dives, slashes, or dashes. You'll notice I take a lot of damage here, and that's why we have the healing based loadout. I go down to 1 mask in this phase, and I'm still able to get back to 9 masks in the following phase. Just stay calm and heal when you have some space, immediately following any void and physical attacks that occur simultaneously. The injector band allows us to get heals off safely. Just make sure to wait to heal until you have at least 4 masks of damage or full silk so that we're using our silk wisely. Try to focus more on dodging void attacks and anticipating Lace than watching your Silk and health bar, and learn to notice when your health gets dangerously low with your peripheral vision. The second and third phases are broken up by a brief cutscene where Lace appears to have been defeated and void water starts flooding into the room, but don't be fooled as I was the first time, this fight is only just beginning. The third phase speeds up her physical movement and adds one additional void move, which we see right at the onset of this phase. We'll call this move Void Waves, and it's telegraphed by a rumbling of the void waters. For the first one, I like to run and hang on the right wall, wait for the void wave to come from the left, and double jump over it. Then I run to the left-hand side of the arena and repeat the process for the void wave coming from the right. After this first iteration of void wave, the waves will come closer together and start from a random direction. I like to run to the right-hand wall and use the Ascendance grip to hang at the top until I see where the wave is coming from. Then I double jump over the first wave and float over the second, which works like a charm once the waves start coming closer together. A lot of people are calling this third phase the final phase, but I consider there to be two remaining phases because halfway through this second half of the fight, Lace gets another physical move added to her repertoire, which we'll address shortly. The waves are easy enough to dodge if you can get to a wall cling in time to get the height to jump over them. The issue comes when you're battling Lace in the middle of the arena and she's slinging void everywhere and summoning void pillars. It can be tough to notice the subtle rumbling of the void waters through all the noise. For that reason, I generally recommend sticking to the side of the arena. Although it can feel claustrophobic, it leaves you in a good position to hop on the wall for void waves and to hop up and over the triple void blast. Plus, if you stick to one side, you don't have to worry as much about running into Lace when she tries to teleport in front of you. You can see me panic right here in a bit and wall cling right into those tentacles. Ideally, I would have jumped up and floated and kind of hung and got some air time above them. But it's hard to anticipate what you're going to run into with all this void running around, so it's okay to run into her and take some damage occasionally like that. On this next set of void waves here, I hop up and wall cling for a bit and hop over each one independently. That's alright too if you get in a situation where you panic like this, but honestly it's easier to just hop out into the center, double jump, and then you can float over that second one. And there's a triple void blast. Use the wall to hop up and over all three. Notice that starting in the third phase, we get a pair of void waterfalls pouring in from the left-hand side of the arena. These don't cause damage, but with Lace, the ground, and all the void attacks being the same shade of black, these waterfalls can dramatically increase visibility issues. Hence, it can be helpful to stick to the right-hand side of the arena in this second half, where there are no waterfalls. This being said, prioritize dodging moves over all else, and that may require occasionally traveling to the left-hand side as you see me doing. As always, just stay calm and vigilant, always watching for the next move. It's still okay to get caught in a move or two. We can heal for double the damage a hit steals from us. Thank you to the injector band paired with the multi-binder. As long as we don't panic after getting hit once and get ourselves caught in an endless combo, then we're gonna be golden. Earlier I told you to dash away from those tentacles, but obviously in these later phases when we're sticking to the wall, that's not going to be an option. So just jump up and get some height over them when you can. And I messed myself up here by running to the left-hand side of the arena, and I think because of those waterfalls, it made it harder for me to notice that the void water was rumbling, and I got trapped in that first void wave. So hopefully you're more perceptive or have better vision than I do. But if not, and you're like me, that's why we want to try and stick over to the right-hand side in these later phases. I always get excited when she hops in the air and points the needle at me because I know she's diving, and that is the easiest opportunity to pogo in my opinion. Ooh, when you get a combo like that of the void pillars right after the orb blades, that can get pretty frustrating. But you can jump up and over the pillars, you just need maximum height. And after you've slowly and carefully chipped away enough damage, Lace will do another maniacal fit of laughter like she did to signal the change from phase 1 to 2. This indicates we've entered the fourth phase, and this same laughter will become the telegraphing signal for the new attack being added to Lace's moveset. After laughing, she generates 4 large glowing spheres in random positions around your location in the arena. You have about 2 seconds before these spheres ensnare you in a trap that causes 3 masks of damage, so they're best avoided at all costs. Generally, there will be a small gap between the 2 spheres closest to you, and you can gracefully sidestep and stand in between them. If not, you need to book it to the closest place in the arena not occupied by a glowing sphere. Avoid getting trapped by the first half of this move at all costs to save your masks. It's not the most difficult of Lace's moves to dodge, but unfortunately, you can get trapped in it with unlucky positioning and placement of the traps. So make sure you always have at least 4 masks of health in this last phase to avoid getting trapped in the spheres in one shot. After you successfully avoid the glowing trap spheres, Lace will teleport above you and then slam down into the ground, generating void trails on either side of her landing point. Simply dash to the side to avoid contact damage from her slam, and then jump up into the air to avoid the void trails that manifest to her sides shortly thereafter. Be careful, because the glowing traps and subsequent dodging of Lace may force you into a position in the center of the arena, and the void waves will keep coming during this phase. So do what you can to quickly get back to the wall so you can easily get height to jump over the waves. And right here you can see the wave comes from the right, the way that I jumped towards the wall, and I'm still able to get over it pretty easily because it's at its lowest point when it first comes into the arena. If you try to jump over it in the center, you're going to have a lot more trouble. But if you use the method I originally suggested, where you jump over the first wave and then double jump and float in the air to get height over the second wave, that can actually be a great opportunity to get a free heal in, because the heal gives you some extra air time and you don't have to worry about Lace following up with any void moves or getting trapped in the slashes, anything like that. When you're at a loss of what to do in this fight, default to double jumping and floating in the air when you're deciding what to do next. It won't always work, but you can out jump and float over most of Lace's phase 2 and 3 moves, aside from triple void blast and arching void orb blades, which will hit you high in the air. If you default to getting above her and floating, you'll find yourself in a good position more often than not to drop down and follow up with a pogo. On a similar note, we haven't seen much of it in this fight, but if you're following up to Lace head on with less pogoing than I am, she can set up to parry and then counter your attack, similar to in the second Lace fight or the fight with Phantom. Lace responds to how you play, and if you find yourself getting parried and riposted a lot because of your playstyle, always remember to jump immediately after getting parried. She has 2 different riposte moves, and it's impossible to predict which angle she will come at you. If you try to dash away from a riposte, there's like a 75% chance you'll get caught up in her blades, but no matter what angle she comes at you, the riposte can be jumped over. In fact, if you get good at double jumping and floating during a riposte, you can get an easy pogo in afterwards. So if you see Lace setting up for a parry and can quickly and intentionally hit it with your needle, it can be a good strategy to bait out her parries to get a free pogo in addition to pogoing on her dives and dashes. Look at what happened to me there and learn from my mistakes. If you're all the way over to the side of the wall like this when a void wave is coming, you can just double jump and float over that first one. You don't need to try to get to the wall cling if your timing's off, or you might accidentally fall like I did into the wave. Ouch. Yeah, so a really bad 10 seconds or so for me right here. My mistake in that play was when I saw the glowing spheres appear for the big trap attack, I jumped to try to avoid them. And I actually do the same thing right there, and I get lucky that I'm able to drop off of the wall and there's a gap there. But I highly suggest when you see the traps coming, don't jump, run and dash to the closest safe space. Eventually, if you're careful and meticulous, you'll chip away at enough of Lace's health that she calls it quits and submits. Congratulations, you have won at Silksong, become the Elden Lord, and officially gotten good. Nice. But you still need to escape the abyss and see your ending. Don't worry, Lace will lay down after a bit. You can head over, pick her up, and do a super jump to get the 2 of you out of the abyss. Your particular ending will depend on what quests you finished, so I'll leave that for you to enjoy on your own. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. I'm Chastain on Gaming, and I'll see you next time.